Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description, in every episode description to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say I'm watching so-and-so show, and then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it, and that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 1, Episode 6 of Amazon Prime's Gen V, entitled Jumanji. I feel like the episode title is kind of strange here. I guess if you really want to make it work and you don't mind if it's a bit of a stretch, you could say that, you know, in Jumanji, a kid got sucked into a game, and in this episode, some kids got sucked into some memories, but I kind of feel like that's a bit of a reach. But anyway, I thought this was a really fun episode that found a creative and entertaining way to give the audience some backstory, as well as set up the final 2 episodes of the season. This episode used Kate's ability to manipulate the mind to take us on a journey that would creatively give us an explanation for why she did what she did in the last episode. It would resume presenting her as a sympathetic character and teach the kids a lesson about forgiving oneself. Now, I said in the last video that I didn't want to say that Kate was a bad person because I suspected the show would give us something of an understandable motivation for her behavior and would continue to make her that sympathetic and redeemable character. And that is what happened. And we spend the entire episode actually learning about what Kate has experienced and how it motivates her actions via a trip through her memories and through Jordan and Marie's memories as well. And we ended last week with, I guess actually to a degree, Andre's memories too. But we ended last week with everyone learning that Kate was responsible for the memory wipes. And we opened this episode with her immediately giving everyone their memories back, which, you know, I didn't know she had that ability, but that's how we found out. I'm sure that's how we all found out. Marie immediately makes the same case that I was making, saying that Kate is essentially a pawn in whatever it is that Shetty is up to. But Andre says that he thinks Kate made Luke kill Brink and then kill himself, which I'm like, that makes sense. And it still lays out a super interesting path of how do we get to the Kate that we know doing something that terrible. So I'm like, okay, like Marie immediately dismissed that hypothesis, but I'm like, I'm okay with that because I thought that'd be an entertaining journey to go on. But like I said, I was brought on that explanation. But I'm glad that even though they went in a different direction from what I was expecting, that it ultimately turned out better because we learned what we learned via watching their memories, and I thought that was a really enjoyable and fun experience. And as the show is established, using Kate's powers, they take a toll on her, and giving everyone their memories back exacted a heavy toll. No Thanos, and Kate passes out. Now Marie heals her, but she doesn't wake up right away. And then later she appears to wake up and then disappear, but that's when our journey through Kate's mind begins. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about each memory we see and its relevance, and then I'm going to close out by talking about this episode's B-plot, and you know, as the B-plot does contain, I guess, the official cliffhanger moment for this episode. But the first memory we arrive at is of Kate's mother searching for her brother. Now, we learned last week that Kate came to learn and understand her powers when she told her brother to go away and never come back, and that's exactly what he did. And in this scene, we get a random Soldier Boy cameo because he was apparently Kate's crush, and she used to hunt pillows thinking about him. And for the audience, though, he lays out this kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street style of rules where he's like, these lightning strikes are popped blood vessels in Kate's brain, and if Kate becomes a vegetable, so do you guys. Just like in the Freddy movies, like if you die in a dream, you die in real life. So that was I think that was really the purpose of that first scene, because we already knew about the thing with Kate having sent her brother away. So I think that first memory was really just so Soldier Boy that could lay out kind of like the rules and the stakes for what was going to happen during this sequence. So the next memory is of Kate meeting Shetty for the first time, and this memory informs us of two things. One, that Kate's mom locked her in a room for 9 years, which may be the worst thing we've heard on this show or The Boys. And two, how Shetty used the rejection that Kate got from her mom to pull Kate closer to herself by being overly accepting, overly helpful, overly kind. We're basically meant to juxtapose Shetty's treatment of Kate with her mother's treatment of her. That's what that memory gives us. Our next memory is of Luke meeting Kate, but then they put a nice twist on this one and have Luke interact with the group being the group of kids that we know. We learn, and the group learns, that Andre was basically fucking Kate while Luke was still alive, betraying his friend, and not just him betraying his friend, but Kate betraying her boyfriend. And Luke delivers a great line here about how she didn't even have to make him do it. Like she didn't have to use her powers. You stabbed me in the back of your own free will. I thought that was a pretty scathing line. Luke attacks and the group escapes. Well, everyone who matters escapes. And they end up at one of Jordan's memories next. And I like this scene because at first I thought it was an early beginning to the scene of Luke killing Brink. Like, oh, we're just going to see like what happened in the moments earlier. But no, it turns out that Lucas had multiple bouts of remembering Sam and wanting to kill Brink over it. And in this moment, Jordan stops him. So the group learns, and thereby we learn, that Jordan knew this whole time that Luke had tried to kill Brink before and said nothing because Brink lied to them about what was going on with Luke and gave them a TA job. So they were essentially being entirely self-serving, and now Brink and Luke are dead because of it. And the girl version of Jordan, rightfully so, gives the boy version of Jordan a proper dragon, gives him shit, and says that they were cowards, which they were. So the next memory is Kate seeing both Luke and Sam being experimented on. I remember wondering for myself, like, wait, what are they experimenting on Luke for? It turns out that one of the things going on in the woods was that they are using Sam's powers to augment Luke's. My guess is that they probably want Sam's power set or something close to it in a less volatile individual. So my guess is that was what was going on. Probably not going to be a big reveal there when we learn probably that in the next episode. But Shetty, again, a cool twist here. Shetty sees them in this memory, and they escape only to, unsurprisingly, because I as soon as I saw that we were going through memories, I'm like, looking at my watch, like, when are we going to arrive at Marie's origin story? And yeah, that's what happens. They unsurprisingly arrive at Marie's origin story. Her sister tells her that no matter how hard she tries to become a hero, that she's always going to see her as a murderer. And of course, we know that's the entire reason that Marie is doing this in the first place, is to show her sister that she's a good person and to prove the complete opposite of that. So Marie arrives at the conclusion that she needs to forgive herself for doing something terrible that she had no control over and no knowledge of. And that's when she learns, and we learn, that this episode is about forgiveness. They've all done terrible things, some intentional, others not, but regardless, they all hold themselves responsible and beat themselves up over these things. And this episode is about them knowing that, accepting that, and then moving on from it, which is the part that they have not yet reached. And they gave the characters that lesson in an interesting and informative trip down memory lane. And I thought that was a really fun and effective and creative way of not just of showing us the kids learning that lesson, but also giving us some Kate backstory, also immediately redeeming her, because of course we're like, Kate's a piece of shit the end of the last episode, and then immediately they redeem Kate. So really effective episode for what it did. Before I wrap up though, I want to talk about the B plot with Shetty. The doctor that she's working with, Cardosa, he's developed a virus that only sickens soups because it attaches to the compound V in their blood. Seems to negate their powers, but it also makes them sick. He calls this a humane way of controlling them, which I thought was a nice touch that made him seem extra evil, to say that was humane, as like there's a soup like coughing in the background. From his perspective, though, this humane act was their end goal. Like, this is what we were trying to achieve, and we did it, so mission accomplished. But Shetty tells him to further concentrate the formula, and we learned that only a slight increase can kill a soup, and now Shetty wants to make it contagious, and that's the how we end the episode. And I'm guessing this is going to end in a place where, maybe like a soup did something traumatizing to Shetty. Now she wants revenge on all soups, and the kids will have to get her to forgive herself and let something go. I don't know, but we'll see. But it's probably going to tie in to this whole idea of forgiveness. So we've only got 2 episodes left, and with this one not having any extreme violence, they're going to go complete balls to the wall in the last 2. Looking forward to it. So until next week, peace. Oh, and I don't care about Sam and Emma fucking either. All right, peace.